जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्र सदस्य श्रीमद शील अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्र सदस्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, Chapter title Birth of Emperor Pariksit. Text 2. Please repeat. Tasya Janma Mahabuddhe Karmani Cha Mahatmanah Nidhanam Cha Yatha Eva आसीत् saha pretya gatavan yatha tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmanah nidanam cha yathaivasi sapretya gatavan yatha tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmanah nidanam cha yathaivasi sapretya gatavan yatha tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmanah nidhanam cha yataivasi sapretya gatavan yatha Yatevasi sapretya gatavan yata tasya janma mahabuddhe mahatmanah nidhanam cha yatevasi sapretya gatavan yata tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmanah nidanam cha yataivasi sapretya gatavan yatha. Mataji. Tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmanah nidanam cha yataivasi sapretya gatavan yatha. Tasya, his, of Maharaja Pariksit, janma, birth, mahabuddhe, of great intelligence, karmani, activities, cha, also, mahatmanah, great, of the great devotee, nidhanam, demise, cha, also, yatha, as it was, eva, of course, asit, happened, saha, he, pretya, destination after death, gatavan, achieved, yatha, as it were. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Translation. How was the great Emperor Pariksit, who was a highly intelligent and great devotee, born in that womb? How did his death take place, and what did he achieve after his death? Purport. The king of Hastinapura, now Delhi, used to be the emperor of the world, at least till the time of the son of Emperor Pariksit. Maharaja Pariksit was saved by the Lord in the womb of his mother, so he would certainly be saved from an untimely death due to the ill will of the son of a Brahmana. Because the age of Kali began to act just after the assumption of power by Maharaja Pariksit, the first sign of misgivings was exhibited in the cursing of such a greatly intelligent and devoted king as Maharaja Pariksit. The king is the protector of the helpless citizens, and their welfare, peace, and prosperity depend on him. Unfortunately, by the instigation of the fallen age of Kali, an unfortunate Brahmana's son was employed to condemn the innocent Maharaja Pariksit, and so the king had to prepare himself for death within 7 days. Maharaja Pariksit is especially famous as one who is protected by Vishnu, and when he was unduly cursed by a Brahmana's son, he could have invoked the mercy of the Lord to save him. But he did not want to because he was a pure devotee. A pure devotee never asks the Lord for any undue favor. Maharaja Pariksit knew that the curse of the Brahmana's son upon him was unjustified, as everyone else knew. But he did not want to counteract it, because he knew also that the age of Kali had begun, and that the first symptom of the age, namely degradation of the highly talented Brahmana community, had also begun. He did not want to interfere with the current of the time, but he prepared himself to meet death very cheerfully and very properly. Being fortunate, he got at least 7 days to prepare himself to meet death, and so he properly utilized the time in the association of Sukadeva Goswami, the great saint and devotee of the Lord. Yanam Timirandasya Nyanjana Shalakya Takshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vakshalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkrpatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Diyatarina Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakhan Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitname Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Just brief introduction. We are very fortunate to have the association of His Grace Jagan Mohan Gopal Prabhu. Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. And I know Prabhuji from before he joining as a full-time. Before he joining as a full-time, Prabhuji was already like preaching in Shivakashi. He used to conduct Sunday programs. He used to cook himself, make sweets, and he used to give lecture himself, do kirtan himself. He used to have another devotee help. And like that he used to preach in Shivakashi very long back. And his father was he had a fear of father. He actually had a desire to join full-time. But Prabhuji has fear of father and parents, and but somehow or other he crossed over that fear and he joined full-time in ISKCON Salem. Which year, Prabhu?
2013.
2013. In 2013, Prabhuji is engaged in different services, mainly in managerial services. He was doing college preaching in different universities there around in Salem, and now many years he engaged in as ISKCON Salem is under construction, so Prabhuji is also engaged in getting funds for temple construction, and like this Prabhuji is fully and also recently he has innovatively started distributing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by cultivating people through contacts, phone contacts, like starting from A to Z. There are so many contacts in the phone list. So he started calling everyone, and he gave guidance to other congregation devotees also to start preaching Bhagavatam on phone people. So like that Prabhuji and marathon, how many sets, Prabhu?
1060.
1060 Bhagavatam sets Prabhuji did. So we are very, very much inspired, and we are very much fortunate to have his association. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. This Bhaya principle is spread everywhere in the material world. Obviously, I was not much fearful of my father, because after all, he is my father. But actually, I was fearful of one thing, that he was having a very good position in the society. So in some sense, I thought I will jeopardize his position and he may feel so uncomfortable in society. And for another reason, I thought, let me also preach in my native place. Anyway, that didn't work out because my father was always on my case. He just came, he was trying to, he did not come personally, but then he was instigating my mother to go and stop my preaching activities. Anyway, that's old history. But now I am happy that he is welcoming my actions. Though my whole family was subjecting my Krishna consciousness, that's the case with many devotees. Right? Everybody practically, they'll be objected by their family members, friends, whole society. Since time immemorial, nobody likes a Hare Krishna devotee. You can see the case of Prahlad Maharaj, his own father, he was also objecting. And what to speak of Prahlad Maharaj, even a great Brahmana spiritual master like Sukracharya, he did not like his disciple to become a devotee of Krishna. So it's expected in the material world, nobody likes their son or their ward or their disciple or means a so-called guru for the so-called disciple or the kings for the citizens. Nobody wants their dependents to become a Hare Krishna devotee. On the contrary, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam says that if you do not want your dependents to become a devotee of Krishna, don't take to a responsible position. Somebody remembers that verse? Guru na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat. Yes, okay. So, let's speak from this particular verse. Okay, here, okay, I'll again read the text too. Tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmaha nidanam cha yataivasit saprete gatavan yatha. Translation. How was the great Emperor Pariksit, who was a highly intelligent and great devotee, born in that womb? How did his death take place? And what did he achieve after his death? When Prabhu was giving me this particular verse for Bhagavatam class, I just went through the purport. I was saying there are so many points, which point I should speak from. Srila Prabhupada, he speaks about various points in this particular purport. He speaks about how Pariksit Maharaj was born. That itself is a very big history. We can speak largely on that topic. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about the age of Kali, all the misgivings of the age of Kali, the degradation of the age of Kali. Obviously, there is a big chapter also in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and so many other places in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam throughout Vedic literature, how the age of Kali is degraded. So we can speak on that topic also. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about how the degradation of the Kali began by the degradation of, Kali Yuga is already a degraded Yuga. There is no need of saying degradation of Kali Yuga. The reason for the degradation of Kali is because of the degradation of the Brahmanas. This is where the Kali Yuga began. And Srila Prabhupada speaks one other thing also, that how Pariksit Maharaj, he just welcomed the curse that was on his head. He just did not try to counteract the curse that he was given by the unfortunate Brahmana's son. And Srila Prabhupada finally speaks about the association of Sukadeva Goswami by Pariksit Maharaj, and he was very happy to take that association. So many different points we can speak. And I was reading the words also. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he has once said in the lecture that there are 18,000 slokas of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and for each and every sloka, one can continue speaking for 1 month. For every sloka, we can speak for 1 month. Then there are 18,000 slokas. Srila Prabhupada says that then we can speak for 18,000 months. How many of us will be there to live for 18,000 months to hear whole Bhagavatam? So we need to have a regular study of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as our routine. Then we can expand on one particular sloka. At least every day we are doing a thorough study of one particular verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Here in this particular verse, the word Mahabuddhe is given. of great intelligence. I was thinking this is such a nice word that Saunaka Rishis, they are addressing Pariksit as Mahabuddhe. Even this one particular word, we can speak on so many things. Why Pariksit Maharaj should be addressed as Mahabuddhe? Mahabuddhe means a greatly intelligent person. So we can speak about the intelligence of Pariksit Maharaj, how he was so nicely managing his administration. We need intelligence to administer. It's not that it's anybody can do it. It's not that some roadside person completely literate can handle such a big administration of a big kingdom. Those times, the emperor of Hastinapur, the king of Hastinapur, means he is the emperor of the whole world. All the kingdoms are under him. Here Srila Prabhupada speaks about the king of Hastinapur and now Delhi. King of Hastinapur, he was ruling the whole world. Delhi was the capital of the whole world. The whole Bulok, earthly planet was under the rule of the king of Hastinapur. So he needs intelligence. Only an intelligent person can rule. So we can speak about Pariksit Maharaj, about how he ruled the kingdom, or how he organized society. That is also a greatly intelligent action. The Varna society was so prominent during his time. In fact, that was the last time Varnashrama was so wonderfully followed, as we see in the pages of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Or we can speak about the intelligence of Pariksit Maharaj, how he was so much searching for the particular person whom he saw in the womb. We see that the Brahma Sutras start by saying that, the whole Vedas, they begin by saying Atato Brahma Jinyasa. Means we have to inquire about Brahman. And this was particularly done by Pariksit Maharaj. In fact, the word Pariksit means examiner. He was examining. Whomever he was meeting, he was examining, is this the person I saw in my womb? Because it's a big history, the birth of Emperor Pariksit, how he was saved by Krishna in the womb. You would have seen this particular incident in the previous chapters, how Pariksit Maharaj was saved in the womb by Krishna. So he could remember this person. He was checking every person. Is this the person I saw? Is this the person I saw? So he could not find that person. So he could see that it is only the Supreme Lord who saved me in that womb. So he was very intelligent in searching for that person. So we can speak about Pariksit Maharaj, how he was intelligent in that way. Or we can speak about Pariksit Maharaj's intelligence in his act of not counter-cursing the curse that he got. He simply accepted the curse and proceeded with the life of 7 more days, and fully engaging all these days of his last life in hearing about Krishna from Sukadeva Goswami. So in many ways we can speak about this one particular word, Mahabuddhe. Or even if you speak about Gatavan, Pretya Gatavan. Pretya refers to the destination that one reaches, and Gatavan means how Pariksit Maharaj achieved. We can speak about how Pariksit Maharaj achieved the supreme destination of Krishna's planet, spiritual world. Or we can speak about the supreme destination of attainment of love of God. So in many ways we can speak about each and every word. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is unlimited. Unlimitedly we can speak from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in fact, there is one particular verse which was analyzed deeply by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then spoken to. Do you remember who the two personalities that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke about? One particular verse in 64 different ways. Yes, Sambhatacharya and Sanatana Goswami. It was Sanatana Goswami. So he spoke to Sambhatacharya, later he spoke to Sanatana Goswami also. So one particular verse, Atmaramas Chamanayo, Nirdantapi Urukrume, Kurvanti Akitukim Bhaktim, Ittam Bhutaguno Harihi. So this one particular verse was separated, 11 words was made, separated, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains in 64 different ways. Then we can just imagine how much we can speak elaborately from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And we remember our founder Acharya's spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he was giving a discourse on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam's first canto, first chapter, first verse, he spoke for 30 days. He spoke for 30 days for one verse, the beginning verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And when he gives lecture, when Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur gives lecture, his lecture is it's not in minutes, it's in hours. His shortest lecture is a 2-hour lecture. Then you can imagine how his longest lectures will be 3 hours, 4 hours. He can speak for 4 hours, 4 hours is a regular lecture. Whenever he speaks, regularly he speaks for 3-4 hours. And if he finishes the class in 2 hours, it's a short lecture. How many of us will be able to sit and listen such? And when he speaks, we know how deep his words and how he uses words. You should be knowing how he uses the words in the English language. The book Brahma Samhita. Just see his translation. It's amazing how he translates. And such a personality giving lectures for hours and hours. Then you can imagine how much is there in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Our own Srila Prabhupada, he seeing the fallen people of this planet, he gave short lectures, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, or even 15 minutes. Srila Prabhupada has given a short lecture for 15 minutes also. Sometimes high-level lectures are very short, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, or 40 minutes. But Srila Prabhupada, he has also given long lectures. He has also given 1.5 hours lectures, even a bigger than 1.5 hours lectures also he has given. But seeing our own position, it's difficult for us to hear. Sit in one place and hear Manda Sumanda Madayo Manda Bhagi Upadritaha. That's what the sages of Naimisharanya. This Kali Yuga is coming. People are very dull, they are very lazy, they are unfortunate. So what can be done? This was the question raised by Shaunakari to Sukadeva Goswami. So it's people of Kali Yuga very dull. To speak for a long time is very difficult. But if you go above the previous times, people could sit and hear for a long time also. Arjuna sat and heard the whole Bhagavad Gita. Of course, there was not a long talk. Bhagavad Gita it's a short talk, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It's a very condensed talk. You can see, and he understood whole Bhagavad Gita in 30 minutes. That's what Srila Prabhupada said. Whole Bhagavad Gita was understood by Arjuna, who was not a Brahmana, not a sannyasi, and not a brahmachari, but a grihastha, administrative person. He could wholly, fully, perfectly, rightly understand whole Bhagavad Gita in just 30 minutes. But for the great scholars of the modern Yuga, and so many wonderful great scholars, Brahmana by position, sannyasi, they have difficulty in understanding Bhagavad Gita. Even after they read Bhagavad Gita for many days and research of Bhagavad Gita for months, still they cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. Or for many births, still big personalities have difficulty understanding Bhagavad Gita. Krishna speaks about that in Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapatyate. Krishna says that a jnani, after taking so many births of research, then he comes to the position of understanding me, means Krishna. So it's not so easy. Bhaktyama Bijanati, only by devotional service, Bhagavad Gita can be understood. And Arjuna was a devotee of Krishna, so he could understand Bhagavad Gita in half an hour. So if anybody who wants to understand Bhagavad Gita so fast, swiftly, in no time means in least possible time, then become a devotee of Krishna. Then you will understand Bhagavad Gita so easily. Without becoming a devotee of Krishna, then you can rot in the material world for millions and millions of births and take your birth in the pages of the Vedas as a worm, but still you will never be able to understand Bhagavad Gita, even to a tiniest part. Only devotees can understand Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita was a very short talk, but Arjuna was so rapt in attention, he heard the whole Bhagavad Gita. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam was heard by Pariksit Maharaj in 7 days. He continuously heard. We were speaking about Thakur giving lecture for 4 hours, 5 hours, or even more than that. But Pariksit Maharaj was given a long lecture for 7 days. And there was no stop in between. They were continuously hearing. There was no time to even sleep, or in fact there was no time to take any breakfast, lunch or dinner. Nothing was taken. And it's not that there was no time. There was actually the time was there, but still they didn't care to take sleep. They didn't take any care to fill their belly also. We know Sukadeva Goswami, he is already a very renounced person. He did not have any cloth on his body also. He was completely renounced. So we can understand if he is if he is not taking any food or any sleep, keep on speaking. And he is engaging in speaking. The activity of speaking is there by Sukadeva Goswami. So he can speak. But Pariksit Maharaj, he was a king. He was not a tapasvi, as we don't see anything like that. He's a fully engaged person, engaged in so much of physical activities also. In the fighting, he was also practically traveling all over the kingdom. So he was a fully engaged person, but he also was so wrapped in hearing Krishna Katha, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that he did not have any time. He did not want to give. In fact, Pariksit Maharaj, he himself is saying that there is no disturbance of sleep or hunger in my body. I can just keep on hearing the whole Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So he was hearing this whole rapidly. He was hearing without any distraction of sleep or hunger. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is like that. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is so nectarian that, in fact, it was so nectarian that he doesn't want to stop in between. Just like somebody, if you are going to take a nice feast, he won't sleep in between. Such a nice feast they are serving. We'll be waiting. What is the next item? What is the next item? When this item will come? We know so many items. Okay, this item. When this sweet they will be served? We'll be eager. Not that even if the feast is going to extend for 2 hours, still we'll be eager in taking prasadam, because our consciousness is in the initial stage. Even if you come to Krishna Gana, it is in this Annamaya Kosha that Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita also. So Pariksit Maharaj, he transcended that. So how we are eager to take prasad, that's a very good thing. There is nothing wrong in taking prasadam particularly. We should be very enthusiastic to take prasadam. At the same time, we should be enthusiastic to hear also. That is also there. How nobody likes to be distracted when we take prasadam. We don't want any disturbance. Similarly, there should not be any disturbance while hearing Krishna Katha also. So Pariksit Maharaj, he was very advanced personality. He could sit and hear whole Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam continuously for 7 days. So the elevated personality, Pariksit Maharaj. So he is a very intelligent person. And here in this particular verse, Srila Prabhupada, he speaks about the degradation of the Brahmana community. That's where Kali Yuga began. Kali Yuga began because of the degradation of the Brahmana community. This is a very important point that we should understand, because Brahmanas are the heads of the society. If the head is not functioning properly, then what can we expect? What can we expect when the head is not properly functioning? In fact, when there is no head in the society, then practically the society is useless. That's why Srila Prabhupada, he wanted ISKCON as a society to create Brahmanas. ISKCON is meant for creating Brahmanas. That's one of the important goals that Srila Prabhupada had in his movement, that he wants to create Brahmanas, because without Brahmanas, then the society cannot run. It's very important to have Brahmanas in the society. And here we see that just because the Brahmana, he did not follow the duty of a Brahmana. The Brahmana, they are supposed to be intelligent and then act accordingly. Here the son of a Brahmana, he couldn't act intelligently and he couldn't do a proper act. He couldn't see that whom he is cursing. A great personality as Maharaja Pariksit, who is the king and who is so powerful that he was so nicely managing his kingdom. And not that Maharaj Pariksit was just a king. He was a devotee of the Lord. And when a devotee is ruling, then we can expect that the whole society will be properly guided. And such a person is cursed. Then we can imagine how degradation of Kali Yuga has been. Because the Brahmanas fell down. So one sense, we want to protect this Brahmanical culture so that society can be peaceful and prosperous. And particularly the effect of fall down of the Brahmanas can be very clearly seen in this part of India, South India. I am coming from Tamil Nadu, and there is a very big agitation for the Brahmana community. Obviously, I think this part also should be, the part of Karnataka or this Andhra Pradesh. All over India, there is so much of agitation against the Brahmana community, but particularly in South India, there is so much of vehemently they are against the Brahmana community. In one sense, as Srila Prabhupada said, because of degradation of community, the society has fallen. It's completely true in many ways. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he says in one of the lectures, he speaks about the South Indian degradation of the Brahmanas. In one of the lectures, Srila Prabhupada says, because Brahmanas, they so much mistreated the lower sections of the people, and because of this mistreatment, a particular party was formed. Hopefully, I think the Justice Party. The Justice Party is the South India Liberation Federation Liberation, something like that. So because of this Justice Party, then there was so much agitation against the Brahmanas. Srila Prabhupada, he says that in South India, Brahmanas so much treated the lower community that if some person from a Shudra community, he enters the place where Brahmanas are living. So if a Shudra is entering the community of the colony of the Brahmanas, in fact they were not allowed. They were not allowed to enter. But even if somehow, if these Brahmanas they come near, if the Shudras, if they come near a Brahmana, and if the Shudra's shadow falls on the Brahmana, then they will go and take bath. That much they were so much mistreating the lower sections. So because of that, this Justice Party was formed. Then they so much protested against the higher sections. Then we know that they kept on speaking so much against the ill activities of Brahmana. Then gradually they started speaking the ill of the Shastras also. Then we know how much now the Brahmana community is suffering here. Practically, the politicians who are ruling, then they are completely against the Vedas. They are against the Brahmanical society. Anyway, it's not proper to speak about politics. There are so many politically politically incorrect statements are very difficult to speak. In one sense, if you read Srila Prabhupada's books, it's all about politically incorrect statements. Many things that Srila Prabhupada writes in his books, the public is not going to accept that. When Prahlad Maharaj, he said that all these are politically incorrect statements for getting this book, right? Because so much against this particular statement. In fact, when Prahlad Maharaj was asked by Hiranyakashipu, what is the best education that you learn in your Gurukul? And he said that the best education is that Saranam Kirtan Vishnu Saranam Karmani Adhikam Uttamam. I consider that care about Krishna, chant about Krishna, remember Krishna, serve Krishna, be a servant of Krishna, friend of Krishna, surrender everything to Krishna. In my consideration, this is the best education. And it was so politically that for this statement, Prahlad Maharaj was ordered to be killed. So in many ways, if you read Srila Prabhupada books, it's all about so much of politically incorrect statements. Here we see that Pariksit Maharaj, he cheerfully, here Srila Prabhupada, he writes that he did not want to interfere with the current of time, but he prepared himself to meet death very cheerfully. Nobody wants to meet death cheerfully. Nobody, this is also politically, nobody wants to. Somebody may even object, why should somebody die voluntarily if we are brahmacharis here? So, tapasa brahmacharyena samena damena cha. So for a brahmachari life, tapasa is important, controlling the senses is important. So this we see in Srila Prabhupada's book. It's there in Bhagavatam, and Srila Prabhupada gives a detailed purport for that verse about how brahmacharis, they engage in the life of tapasya. What to speak of brahmacharis? Even any human being should engage in tapasya. That's what King Rishabhadev says, right? He says that human life means one to engage in tapasya. Tapo divya putrakanam shuddhedyasat brahma saukyam tonantam. So, my dear sons, you please engage in tapasya. So, everybody should engage in tapasya, not just a brahmachari. But this is a politically incorrect statement for everybody. If the people outside the world, nobody will like this. Why you are engaging in tapasya? Why you are getting up so early in the morning, 3:30? 3:30, they see this is night for them. For us, this is completely, night has gone away. You want to be fully awake. But then they say, why so getting up early in the morning? Why you are just having a very strict standard in your eating? Why you don't take this, you don't take that? Why you are wearing this particular uniform? Why are you not socially engaging in activities that other people are doing? There's so many why. Means Srila Prabhupada books are just filled with politically incorrect statements. In fact, that's the nature of the material world. People outside, they'll definitely see that these are all incorrect statements, because Srila Prabhupada's books is all about liberating the conditioned souls, and people living in the material world, they don't want to get liberated. That's why Prahlad Maharaj, he is lamenting, Nate vidu swartakadim ki Vishnum. These foolish people, they don't know what is goal of life. So Prahlad Maharaj, this is in the Satyuga, that time itself that was the case. What to speak of in Kali Yuga now? So all these things are not at all welcome statements. But preaching means spelling out all these politically incorrect statements and saying that this is not proper, this is proper. Anything, any activity forgetting Krishna is not at all proper, and we should always remember and serve Krishna. This is proper. So we have to speak all these things. And especially here it mentioned that Brahmanas are the degradation started by the downfall of Brahmana. So in many ways, maybe political persons will be happy to hear this. In fact, they have been long back accusing the Brahmanas that you mistreated, you so much had power, you had education, we were not allowed to do anything, we did not have any right, we were not allowed to enter here, enter there. So, because of you only the society is like this. They have so much of accusations of the Brahmana community. And here Srila Prabhupada is saying that the degradation began by the fallen of a Brahmana. So they are very happy in one sense to hear this. That your own literature, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam itself is saying that the degradation started from Brahmanas. But we should understand properly also why this is so. Just because degradation began because of the fallen of a Brahmana doesn't mean that Brahmanical culture is fully wrong or is wrong. This is the system set by Krishna. Chaturvarnam maya shishtam gunaka vibhaksha. This is the system set by Krishna. Obviously, the system is so perfect. There is no fault in this system. But somebody misused the system. That we have to accept. Here, the son of a Brahmana, he misused his power of a Brahmana. The Brahmana is so powerful that whatever he utters, it becomes true. The son of this Brahmana, he uttered saying that the person whoever did this activity to my father, let him die in 7 days, referring to Pariksit Maharaj. So that come to pass. So he misused his power of being a Brahmana. That's the case with anybody. When somebody is given a power, if it is misused, then the society suffers. But it's not that somebody misusing the position, then we can we have to completely reject that whole system. We should only see what the system says. We cannot simply blame. In one sense, we have to accept the blame that because of the fall down of the Brahmana community, this has come. But somebody will be so comfortable saying that it's because of Brahmana only, not that others were fully proper only because of Brahmana. Brahmanas began, but then everybody fell. So here in this particular verse, we see that Pariksit Maharaj, he was so capable of even counteracting for the curse that was on him. He was so powerful, means he was such a devotee that Krishna himself, he came and he protected Pariksit Maharaj when he was in womb. From the powerful Brahmastra, Pariksit Maharaj was protected by Krishna. Then what to speak of this curse by a small boy? Ashwatthama is also a Brahmana. And here this boy is also Brahmana, so he is also trying to harm. But then Pariksit Maharaj, he did not do anything. He did not retaliate. He was cheerfully accepting the curse and then he was preparing himself. So he is teaching us. He is teaching the people of the whole world that how one should meet with death, how one should face death. And though in one way we are unhappy that this son of a Brahmana, he cursed Pariksit Maharaj, in other way we can be in one way happy also. Not that I am speaking anything contradictory, I am just trying to make a point that we are happy that Pariksit Maharaj could hear the whole Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam for the future of us. Because Pariksit Maharaj got such a curse from a Brahmana that now Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is available for us, right? It's because Pariksit Maharaj got this verse, Sukadeva Goswami arrived at that particular destination and he spoke whole Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to Pariksit Maharaj. So in that sense, we are happy that this incident has happened, though this is not a proper incident, but still we are happy that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam got released because of Pariksit Maharaj. Pariksit Maharaj so much intently hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So we should also, with rapt attention, hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and definitely we will also reap the benefit of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Here, there was a question asked by the Saunaka Rishis that what did he achieve after his death? And all these things will be answered by Sutta Goswami, that the destination achieved by Pariksit Maharaj after hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So definitely the same destination that Pariksit Maharaj achieved can be achieved by everybody who attentively hears Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam has to be heard so attentively. Every day in the morning we hear about the offenses of the holy names. We hear about the 10 offenses of holy names. While chanting the holy names, we should not commit all these offenses. Nam Namakar means the first begins by one should not offend a person who is engaged in preaching the holy names. Then one should not consider the names of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma to be equal with Shiva, Shashi, Vishnu. So like that we see the 10 offenses. Then there is a final offense. It says that Apipramadha, right? That inattentive chanting. We see that this is an offense while chanting the holy names. We should also know that there is something called inattentive hearing. In fact, if somebody wants to do attentive chanting, somebody wants to avoid this inattentive chanting, then one should engage in attentive hearing. If everyone avoids inattentive hearing, it means very clear in hearing, then definitely we'll be able to avoid the inattentive chanting. And inattentive chanting is the cause of all the above 10 offenses that we see. In fact, only when there is a proper hearing, there will be proper chanting. If we attentively hear, then we will be avoiding all the 10 offenses, including the offense of inattentive chanting. So it's very important. This hearing is very, very important. So we should hear like Pariksit Maharaj. It's very difficult to hear like Pariksit Maharaj. Without eating, sleeping is very difficult, but that's what we should do. We should hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. But though it's a very difficult thing, but that should be our aim, and it's possible. And we see that Nashapraya Shabadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. All the inauspiciousnesses will be gone by giving an oral reception to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We should always hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and by this process, we will be able to remove all the abhadras. So if somebody is having difficulty in hearing, go ahead with the hearing process more and more. Then at one point of stage, you will be able to free yourselves from all these anarthas. So just go ahead with this hearing process. Then you will be able to successfully attain the stage that Pariksit Maharaj attained. So I just finished my class here, but particularly I was requested by Prabhu to speak about the book distribution that we did, how we could distribute 1,000 sets of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in a month. This is a very easy possibility. It is not at all difficult distributing 1,000 sets, especially considering the number of devotees who are engaged in distributing 1,000 sets of Bhagavatam and Chaitanya. We distributed Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita together 1,100 sets, something, some 600 plus Bhagavatam sets and some 450 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets. And hardly some dozen devotees were only involved in this. Not everybody was involved in this. Just a dozen devotees were involved in this, and they could make this possible. And I see that there are so many devotees here in your ISKCON Attapur. So definitely you will be able to do tens of thousands of sets of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. In fact, we want to do that. We want to do that, we should do that, and we must do that. And it is a possibility, as Prabhu was saying, that how I began my set distribution was some, I think, 2-3 years before, when our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Swami, he was speaking in one of the lectures that devotees are distributing 60 sets, 60 books, 60 Mahabig books, 70 Mahabig books, 100 Mahabig books. Devotees do 100 Mahabig books, 120 or even 200 Mahabig books. Maharaj was mentioning this in his lecture, and he was saying that time will come when devotees will be saying that we distributed 100 Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam sets today, we distributed 200 Bhagavatam sets today. Just today I was just hearing that you crossed 100 Mahabig books. So time should come when in your temple you are offering to Shri Gaunita, Shri Radha Madhav and Jagan Baldev, and even the bell is ringing now, that you announce one day, we distributed 100 sets of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, 200 sets Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Not by everybody, one person. Then another person. I saw there is an individual score also. We are announcing this person did some 20 Mahabig books, he did 25, 15, 20. So now that should increase to, he distributed 15 sets, then gradually this devotee distributed 100 sets, this devotee distributed 200 sets of Bhagavatam. And that's a possibility that should happen. So my distribution began after hearing this from Guru Maharaj, and I was also inspired by devotees that we should do sets of Bhagavatam. Then I started by just calling my relatives, my friends who are easy to approach for me. Then spoke to them. I said, please take Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, such a nice literature. We can apply any principle to distribute Bhagavatam set. We know Prabhupada, he often speaks about Charvak Muni. Ranam kritva kritam pibet yavat jivet sukam jivet. Beg, borrow, steal. Pour ghee in your food and take. This is principle. Somehow enjoy life. Vedic life, enjoyment means taking food in ghee. Frying in ghee. In our temple, we have that opulence of take everything in ghee. We used to fry puris in ghee. Even puppets also in our ISKCON sale, we fry in ghee. So that's the highest standard of enjoyment. In Sargaloka, Prabhupada, he writes in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that the heavenly planets, in any sense, they will take any food only when it is cooked in ghee. We can't take, they don't take anything which is cooked in oil at all. This is their standard. In fact, Urvasi, okay, if we speak, we have to speak so much then. So, beg, borrow, steal, pour ghee and then take food. This is Charvaka Muni's policy of enjoying life. So I was a little bit changing how we can suit this to a Sankirtan devotee, a book distributor. Beg, borrow, steal, somehow distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. Whatever you want to do, you do this. The Prabhupada says, what is it? Hook or cook, distribute my books. That's a famous thing. Yeah, we don't want to cheat people and distribute. Obviously, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is such a nice book that somehow we can push it into the hands of the materialistic people. They'll be very happy afterwards. So I was just calling my friends, relatives, somehow saying them that please take. See, one advantage of calling your friends, your relatives, is that they know you. as a Hare Krishna devotee, whenever you call and speak to your friend relative, they will remember Krishna. This is the impression that we have given to them. Though they may not accept us, though they may be against us, though they may even quarrel with us, but when we speak to them over a phone or any conversation with them, they will immediately remember Krishna. So in one sense, we have already given them a sufficient skruti of making them constantly remember Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Oh, this fellow, always chanting Hare Krishna. Oh, this fellow, he will speak only about Krishna. Oh, this fellow, he just gave his life for Krishna. So like that, we are making them remember Krishna. So we have that advantage of giving them, of course it's not that we have given, because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we could give them some remembrance of Krishna. So they have sufficient sukruti that when we speak about, keep on speaking about Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, at one point of time, okay, this rascal is always calling me for some book. And what is that? Okay, some Bhagavatam book. Okay, let me take. He is calling me for many, many years. So let me now take. So in one sense, it will be easy. So I was calling my friends, relatives, and then I know also some persons personally, though they are not my relatives, but then they were also reminded of Krishna. So when I went and then spoke about Bhagavatam and directly speaking about Srila Prabhupada, they have their own merits. Speaking the merit of these books, everybody will be able to take Bhagavatam. So we can speak about the merit of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they will be able to take Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. In that way, I could distribute some close to some 200 sets of Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita in the first year of my set distribution. That time practically only some 1 or 2 devotees were involved, myself and another devotee. That's it, we could distribute such sets. Then the next year marathon, I am not a full-time book distributor, though I am desiring so much. And our Guru also said that you can go ahead with that. Being a full-time book distributor is such a wonderful thing. But I was engaged in other services because of our temple coming up. So in every marathon, we used to do such distribution. So in the second year, I already given sets to all my known contacts. Now how I am going to give? And giving Bhagavatam set is that not that, it is possible because even in streets also we can give Bhagavatam. How Mahotsav Prabhu, you should be hearing him so much. How he could even in matter of 1 minute, 2 minutes, he could push Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in someone's hand who has never heard about Krishna or Rama or Bhagavatam at all. So this is possible for a person like him. But I was thinking, already I gave to my known contacts, so what I will do? Then the second year I did not have any option. If there is a number existing in my phone, there is a suitable candidate to give Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That's it. Not that whether he will take or he will not take. There was a consideration. Okay, let me call people who will take Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Okay, he is capable, he will be able to take. He is a known friend, he is a relative, he will take. But in the second year, that consideration was just gone because all others I have already given. If the person's number is existing in my mobile, okay, let me call him. So I have to call practically everybody whose number is there in my phone. I was just trying to increase my contact numbers also. So whomever I could meet, I will immediately take the number and speak about Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And the second thing that I introduced other devotees also to do set distribution. Then many devotees came together in the second year. Then second year was a very big success. All devotees, maybe we together we could distribute some 400 plus Bhagavatam sets and 400 plus Chaitanya Charitamrita sets. Then it was last marathon. That time we could distribute even more. I started to add some devotees also in my team, and on the whole we were able to distribute totally 1,100 sets of Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita together. So it's possible. In fact, everybody has so many numbers in their mobile phones. In fact, Bhakti Maharaj, when he heard all these things and then he spoke about this set distribution in his lecture, that time he was speaking about, we have been always condemning this use of the smartphones. Now the smartphone has a nice use. So you take your mobile phone, take all your contact numbers, whatever details we have about Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, leaflets, pamphlets, PDFs, what is Bhagavatam, you can just send this through WhatsApp and keep on calling the persons. This is a nice engagement, and also we see that we will be able to distribute Bhagavatam sets. Initially, you may be able to call persons who will be able to take Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That you can try. There's so many devotees sitting here. You can simply call a devotee, call a person known to you, and then ask them, you please take Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam set. You'll be surprised that many will be even happy to take. Many will be happy to take Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam sets. In fact, many are waiting. I have so many Sankirtan stories. In a matter of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, we'll be able to distribute Bhagavatam set. I remember my sister, I just called her. I was a little bit hesitant because she's a very staunch devotee of a demigod. I was just thinking whether she'll be able to take Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. South Indians are mostly attached to so many years of demigods. Of course, everywhere, all over India, we can see that. But when I called her and spoke that there is a literature called Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it speaks about the glories of Krishna, the essence, Sarvavedi Itihasanam Saram Samudritam, the whole essence is printed by Vyasadeva in book called Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, why don't you take it? She said, I also heard something about Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Okay, just send. That's it. I didn't have any difficulty at all. In the first line, she said, okay, send. That's it. So it's possible. Maybe many are eagerly waiting and we are not going and giving. Sometimes we say that people are not pious enough, they are not taking, why should we blame us? Let us take the blame on our head. Just like here, Pashmada, he took the curse, I said, he doesn't, though he knew that he is able to counter curse and there's no wrong in his part, but still, he took the curse on his head and then he proceeded to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So though there is always a wrong on part of the karmis, materialistic people who don't want to hear Krishna, but let us not blame them. Let us take the blame on our head that we are not giving them. And let us go and distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. Of course, we can distribute any Srila Prabhupada books. All books are very powerful. But particularly, we were intent on distributing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And Guru Maharaj also, when he was giving a lecture, Bhakti Maharaj, he gave a lecture in Mayapur, he spoke about this point of distributing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam sets. Srila Prabhupada, he mentioned how Srila Prabhupada, he doesn't want his temple to be just a place of eating and sleeping. He wanted the Sankirtan devotees to just go out and take books, drop in the hands of the conditioned souls to fight against Maya. Then Maharaj, when he said that, for so long time we have been dropping small bombs. Small means we are dropping Prabhupada books. But let us drop now big bombs, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam says. Bhagavatam is really huge. See, when somebody buys small book or Bhagavad Gita, in one sense it is easy. Obviously, giving any Srila Prabhupada book is highest beneficial activity, and the person who receives it is highly benefited. Giving Bhagavad Gita or any small book definitely needs mercy of Guru and Gauranga. Definitely. And now by practice, by the mercy of the Guru and Gauranga, we can distribute Mahabig books. In India, people, they'll be quite easily able to take Bhagavad Gita or any small spiritual book. You have difficulties, but I can't say everything. I'm saying that you'll be able to see this is Bhagavad Gita, such a nice book. It's our book. We should have, everybody should have this much preaching. And they may say, okay, this person is a sadhu. Let me give some 200 rupees, 300. Let me take the book. Without much effort in taking that book, they'll be able to pay you, and then they'll take it. That's beneficial for them. But to buy Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, so much of means thinking has to be there, right? It's an 18-volume book. Bhagavatam is a one book. It's just one book only, 18,000 slokas. We are giving it in 18 volumes, and it is not a small amount. It's a big amount. So much of contemplation has to go. Oh, what is that literature? Let me hear. So they hear more, they contemplate more, and then giving 300 rupees is really their hard-earned money. Srila Prabhupada, he says in one of the lectures that a person who gives his hard-earned money and then takes a Krishna conscious book, his devotional life has begun. So if somebody is giving 300 rupees and buying Bhagavad Gita, then definitely he has purified some of his earnings. And if he buys Bhagavatam set for 8,000 or 9,000, whatever the price now, this is like he has given more money now. Now we can expect there is more purification and there is more consciousness with which he is buying that set. Then we can expect that he is more purified, and it's powerful. But for sure that can approach him in the future. Means anybody is taking a book is going to become a devotee, but somebody takes Bhagavatam, it's very near, we can say maybe. We don't know how Prabhupada's book works. In any time, anybody can become devotee. But I'm just saying that, I'm just encouraging you so that you all can also distribute Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam sets like that. Everybody should do. Everybody, not that only a Sankirtan devotee can do this. Even if a devotee who is engaged in the temple, but still he has so many contacts in his mobile phone, right? So even those devotees can just call. And then now it's very easy. Delivery is not all difficult nowadays. It's very easily. We just make a call and somebody takes. And transfer of money is also very easy. Pay, Paytm, so many things are easily available. Karmis have worked so hard to make our job so easy. We don't want to take up their job of running a corporate sector, how this phone pay system or Paytm systems are running, how they are writing codes. This we don't want to do. We don't want to engage. Srila Prabhupada says that these fools and rascals, let them produce cars. Let them just, we'll just ride in the car. We don't want to. We'll always condemn that these people are so materialistic. They are doing ugra karma, producing unwanted things. But we will just, this is such a nice thing, nicely connected. It is echoing in so many rooms. It's really so much of effort to manufacture this. But let these rascals do all these things. We'll simply use in Krishna service and make their ugra karma perfect. If you are not going to use this microphone or the camera or the car in the service of Krishna as the bell rang, then we are pushing them down to hell. Just by ourselves using these things, this camera or car, mobile phones or the architecture or this chair, table, everything in Krishna service, they are getting benefited. Even the smartphones, they will be degraded to hell for their manufacturing of these things. But then now we are using it properly in the service of Krishna, they will get some benefit. So in that way, we'll be able to do. So all these things are available. Karmis have set a nice pay system also. Just online, the transfer is done. Immediately we will know how much he has credited. Then we can just send books from your place, from your sitting place. Just by sitting, you will be able to distribute Bhagavatam. Somebody can't go to the street, then you'll be able to distribute so many sets. Like that, it's a very big thing to share. How we distribute so many sets and what are the techniques. There are so many things we can speak about. How you'll be able to distribute such Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. But this is my humble request that every devotee please engage in this most wonderful activity, pleasing activity and blissful activity of Srila Prabhupada's book distribution and particularly Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam sets. I was just seeing a morning, he just announced this course. And this is for the pleasure. We always announce for the pleasure of Gaurnitai, Pada Madhav, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra Devi, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, that we distributed this many books. So this is for their pleasure. I was thinking, what is the most pleasing news every day in the morning is hearing this course. In fact, the deities will be very much eager. What is this course? What is course? Of course, they are there. Krishna is there in everyone's heart. He knows this course already. But if you see that, then how we will be able to advance in Krishna consciousness. So they are very much eager to hear this course. Definitely they will be very eager. What is the course? What is this course? Obviously, when the curtain is open, they will be very pleased to see you. You all have got up so early. You want to see me. So they will be much happy to see you. They will be very happy to give their darshan to you. New devotees coming. They will be very pleased to see you. They will be very pleased to accept all the offering, this dhoop or fire or flower. They'll be very happy to pleased to hear, to see all these things also, but they'll be very much pleased when they hear the score, the Sankirtan score. In fact, they'll be very happy to hear the Sankirtan story also. Of course, when whole Mangalarati, we want to decorate the deity also. We want to give a nice decoration for the deity, so we close it. Yeah, we're sitting in the Vyasadeva, we can speak about the Sankirtan stories. We have time for Sankirtan stories. They are hearing. They'll be very happy to hear the Sankirtan stories also. That's true. If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll see how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is daily hearing the exploits of Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur and the other devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he ordered, Tare Dev Tare Kava Krishna Padesh, go, knock each and every door and speak about Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this order. Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, they will go house to house, they will teach, they will induce others to chant Hare Krishna. Then in the evening, they will come and report to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's how they met with Jagai Madai, and then these two drunkards, they just chased them away one day. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was pleased hearing them. Then later, these Jagai Madai, they will hit Nityananda Prabhu. That comes later afterwards. But Every day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he hears the Sankirtan story. He is very pleased. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very pleased. In fact, Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate, that Krishna Prema Pradayate, that giving of Krishna Prema, we know this is done by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is giving Krishna Prema. But that Krishna Prema Pradayate is by Srila Prabhupada's books, is in Srila Prabhupada's books. Actually, Srila Prabhupada is giving that Krishna Prema Pradayate, giving is in his by giving his books. When somebody gives Srila Prabhupada's books, this is like Krishna Prema Pradayate. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to give is there in Prabhupada's book, and if you give that, then you are just saving that particular conditioned soul. In fact, if you give Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it's like you are saving the whole family. Whole family will be reading, not just a family. Generations will be saved. Generations we can save. Of course, any Srila Prabhupada books we are saving. So many people will be saved by Srila Prabhupada's any book. But Bhagavatam is a nice, amazing. And we should keep on. See, we see that Srila Prabhupada's time initially began with distributing small books, or Back to God magazines. That's how the book distribution began. Prabhupada's disciples, the first disciples, they were distributing Back to God magazines. Then gradually devotees started distributing Mahabig books. If somebody distributes 3 Mahabig books, it's a big success story for the whole ISKCON world. 3 Mahabig books. That are many, not so many centers, but when they hear that 4 Mahabig books were distributed, that's a very big thing. In fact, for them, distributing 1 Mahabig book, oh, that thing happened. They never thought that somebody will buy Mahabig book. That was the case initially. Initially, the case was that devotees thought that Mahabig book nobody will take. If somebody takes a Mahabig book, this is such a wonderful news for them. Then gradually it moved from 1, 2 to dozen, then 50s, then hundreds. Now, the Prabhupada's time, they were distributing millions of small books, then Mahabig books. Now we are Prabhupada's grand disciples. We should do more. We should do more. No? Whatever they gave, we should. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he is giving commentary for the Purva Acharyas, commentary for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Sukadeva Goswami. So now we should do something extra. So now let us distribute sets of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That should happen. And I think if I speak, I have to speak more and more, but I just make one point so that you'll be encouraged to distribute Bhagavatam sets. We have done enough distribution of Bhagavad Gitas, and we want to do more also. And Bhagavad Gita is propagated not just by us. We are also propagating. ISKCON is propagating, and other sampradayas are propagating. And what to speak about other sampradayas? Appa sampradayas are also propagating. Right? They also speak about Bhagavad Gita, Appa sampradayas. Mostly they won't speak out, but at least those who are Jnani Sampradaya, the Sakarites, the Mayavadis, the impersonalists, they are also making a big propaganda for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And what to speak of these spiritually inclined transcendentalists? Even the materialistic people, the Karmis, they also propagate Bhagavad Gita. We know the modern Indian Prime Minister, the new Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister, he is also speaking about Bhagavad Gita, and his party is also speaking about Bhagavad Gita, and they speak about particularly Karma Yoga. They engage in Karma Yoga by Bhagavad Gita. So they are also making a propaganda for Bhagavad Gita. Even the atheists also, they say that in Bhagavad Gita some management is there. You can speak in a little deviant way, but somehow push Bhagavad Gita and encourage them. In that way, we see that practically everybody made a nice propaganda for Bhagavad Gita. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, who is going to make propaganda? Definitely, Jnanis, they can't make a propaganda for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, because if they propagate Bhagavatam, then their sampradaya is finished. Of course, Bhagavad Gita as it is, this can be propagated only by ISKCON or the bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya. Other non-ascetist Bhagavad Gita may be propagated by others also. There is another thing. But a pure teaching of Bhagavad Gita is only done by pure devotees of Lord. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, there's not so many versions also. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is Dharma Projita Kaitava. There is nothing. Even liberation is kicked out. Then how Jnanis will enter into it? That's why Sankaracharya, he offered full obeisance. I can't touch Śrīmad. Even Bhagavad Gita also I can't, but with my expertise, with the indulgence of Krishna, let me interpret and give a bhashyam for Gita, Bhagavad Gita. But Bhagavatam, intelligence is not enough to make a wrong interpretation of it, because it's very clear. This is clear. See, Puranarko Dunotitaha, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is like a sun. So it's very difficult to, how darkness can exist in front of the sun? It's not possible. So it's any malinterpretation, misrepresentations for Bhagavatam cannot happen. That's why Shankaracharya, he did not touch. Bhagavad Gita also, he cannot do that, but then he has to misconstrue, and then for the not so intelligent people, he gave Bhagavad Gita in a misconstrued way. Otherwise, pure teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, nobody can do. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we should make a propaganda. Now we should do a big propaganda for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And definitely, our own founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, he'll be very pleased. Srila Prabhupada, he went to the America with Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in his hand. Srila Prabhupada, he was distributing which literature first in US, in America? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Not Bhagavad. Bhagavad was not there with him at all. He was distributing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to Americans. Not that, okay, now we are introducing something new. No, Srila Prabhupada himself was distributing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam first. Not to Indians, to Americans, just Mlechas, Yavanas, who are involved in cow slaughter, but still Srila Prabhupada gave them Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. He was having only first at that time, then later he was able to distribute Bhagavatam sets also through his disciples. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be distributed, must be distributed. Then our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada will be very happy. And that's the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. Yare deko tare kaho Krishnopadesh. This Krishnopadesh is not only Bhagavad Gita, it is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Krishna Katha, two Krishna Katha. Bhagavad Gita is Krishna Katha, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is also Krishna Katha. So whomever we meet, we should distribute Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to them. It's a possibility. You try and then you'll be very happy that, oh, we could give sets also. Okay, thank you. I just stop here. If there is any questions, comments, I'll be happy to, whatever the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, I can answer.
What's the point of if they don't read?
So the question is, you can say in the mic.
Hare Krishna. So what's the point of distributing books if they won't read? I mean, most of the members, they won't read books. They don't have habit of reading books.
They may not immediately read. How can you say they don't read? In our home there was a Krishna book. It was lying for 12 years untouched, to my knowledge. Then after 12 years I touched that book. And in our house later, when I started my Bhagavatam set distribution, I just called my sisters, my friends, relatives. In just one shot, I have 3 elder sisters and 1 elder brother. They immediately took Bhagavatam Chaitanya Charitamrita. They were completely against me. Then after joining the temple, then they can't do anything. So they simply agree, okay, chalo, this fellow has gone like that. But then I called for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they said, okay, anyway, my brother, why to hurt him? Let me take. They took. And now my sisters are all chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna after Bhagavatam entered their house. It's because of that one book my father purchased, I don't know where, when he was in Bombay or somewhere, maybe 90s, he purchased that book. And for many years, we didn't read at all. And we do not know, but now you can see my whole sisters, now my sister-in-law, they're all chanting Hare Krishna, they're also reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So it's like a time bomb, time will come, then it will burst. It will happen. And you should know the story of Vishnu's Bhakti Kas Maharaj also. When somebody gave one Krishna book, second part, those times Krishna book had 3 parts, 3 volumes. So the second volume was sold to this particular person who purchased and kept in his library. He was friend of his own Bhakti Kas Maharaj when he was in his teenage, 15 or 16 years old. This I am saying, this was in Ireland. And when he came to see his friend, there he saw on the rack of books, one book very attractive. He took that. It was a Krishna book, part 2 trilogy. Then there was beautiful Krishna, very colorful art. Krishna keeping his hand inside the mouth of Kesi demon. The demon upside down his body. It's a beautiful painting. You can see it. He just took that book. Then he read that book. He got fully convinced. He wanted to know where this book is coming from, where people are living according to this book, let me also live in their society. He came, joined full time. See, we do not know who is thinking and reading. Even that person may not read, somebody may read. There are countless stories how Prabhupada books are working. We all came because of Srila Prabhupada books. Not that we came in somewhere from the sky. We did not fall from, see, it's thinking. We are not coming from the sky. We are utterly immersed in materialistic life. Somehow Prabhupada books saved us. So let's not worry about that. We want them to read also. If somebody is not reading, push them to read. See, if you Bhagavad Gita, that is, and if you give Bhagavatam, he is a very clear contact to you. Then you will definitely call him, are you reading Bhagavatam? And ask him. It works. It will work. And for so many, it works. Srila Prabhupada, he says that when somebody buys, in fact, it is a recorded lecture, you can see that Srila Prabhupada, he says that when somebody buys a book with his hard-earned money, his devotional life begins. It has already begun. So we don't have to worry. One day it will be matured. Brahmanda Brahmate Kona Bhagyavan Jeev. That bhagya, that luck, is actually receiving Srila Prabhupada's book. It makes people lucky. Actually, I said in the initial of the lecture, in Bhagavatam, initially it comes, Manda, Sumada Madayo, Madabagopadataha. Kaliga people are just unlucky, unfortunate. Let's give them this luck of Srila Prabhupada books. By good luck, one gets Srila Prabhupada books. We should not underestimate that they are getting a book. No, it's actually a good luck that one is getting Srila Prabhupada books, not that they are not reading. It will definitely become fruitful in the future. Srila Prabhupada writes in that. Hearing the 12th chapter, it comes in the 13th chapter, I think, one of the purports. Srila Prabhupada says that by one's good luck, one comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master. Bona fide spiritual master means teachings, not physically. Physical is, spiritual master means hearing. That's spiritual master. Otherwise, what is just, not just a person. Person means it's hearing. Guru means hearing. We are meant for hearing. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Sorry, I am taking really so much time. Hope it is okay.
He told that when Srila Prabhupada says that we are using these things which Karmi has already manufactured. So I heard in a lecture that even Prabhupada told about even aeroplanes also, that this aeroplane wala must be going to hell, but because and I think, I don't know, Prabhupada told or some told this, that but because Prabhupada traveled in the aeroplanes and because he traveled to US and then he preached all over the world, because of the aeroplanes only now Prabhupada was able to preach inventions, because he traveled all over the world. So that aeroplane, the one who manufactures aeroplanes, he will be saved. Yeah. So is this true?
Yeah, obviously. Means for ye tamam prapatke tam sadev jame hum. To some degree, obviously, they could invent something. Sometimes we see that whole thing was nicely set up so that Prabhupada can come and go travel all around the world and preach. Previously, this thing was not there. It was Prabhupada who traveled all around the world, not the previous acharyas. In one sense, these facilities were not available. That aeroplanes not available. We may say that also, because all these facilities are available, and as per Rupa Goswami's principle, Prabhupada could use that in Krishna's service. So the manufacturer who produced something for sense gratification, but now it is used in Krishna's service, he gets a benefit. He gets benefit. We can't say he saved in one sense. Maybe he will get some good form so that he can pick up Krishna consciousness. Not that, I do not know whether just because Prabhupada is now using the aeroplanes, Wright brothers are now in Vaikuntha Loka. I don't know. Maybe because of Srila Prabhupada use, now Wright brothers may get some Sukruti, and because of that they may enter a Vaishnava mother's womb, practice Krishna consciousness because of that possibility. That's true. See, Srila Prabhupada, whenever, interesting, I'm remembering, whenever Srila Prabhupada speaks about all these things manufactured by Karmi, Srila Prabhupada says, we are like the python, Ajagrati. Particularly Srila Prabhupada, when he was in one of the European countries, remember, he was taking a walk in a park. Park was so nicely managed, beautiful. Managing a park is not easy. It's really, It's time consuming and one needs so much of effort also. It's not like a phone you can produce and go. You have to nicely manage. Then flowers will come, trees will come, nicely arranged, the pathway, everything. It's a big park, so much of management is needed. And it is really a big activity. So this particular government was nicely managing this park. Then Srila Prabhupada says, see these fools, they have made a nice park. Real efforts require so much of effort, intelligence and managerial activity. But let them do all this activity and we can simply enjoy the park. This is like Ajagalavriti. You know, Ajagalavriti is the python, the snake. It doesn't do anything. But then what is this? This rat, it just builds a house and then this snake will go inside and live. That's it. So these people, let them do all these things and we will enjoy and use it in Krishna's service. Prabhupada called this is lazy intelligent. We are supposed to be lazy intelligent. Brahmanas are lazy intelligent. This is Mahabuddhe. One who is a lazy intelligent is a Mahabuddhe, as the verse says here. Is Mahabuddhe, is very intelligent. Yes, you want me to say something?
So, Prabhuji, like, they may not get the Bhakti Sukriti, but like they may get higher, like heavenly planets somewhere else. Like, is it like that?
No, this is Bhakti, right?
Their intention is not to serve Prabhupada. So, it just made and Prabhupada just use it. But it doesn't, like, because in Bhakti, intention also matters, Prabhuji. Like, Bhava also matters.
No, unintentional is also considered Sukruti. It's said in Bhagavatam, it comes in sixth canto, chanting the holy names. Even if somebody chants Helam means even if you mock at person, even if you knowing, the word comes unknowingly is unintentional. Unintentional. It's not pure devotional service. Definitely it is not pure devotional service. But this is also, it will bring us to that stage of pure devotional service. Some Sukriti, it's spiritual. It's a spiritual benefit. Definitely. Or if somebody says that, okay, these Wright brothers invented an aeroplane and Srila Prabhupada travel, and because of that unintentionally inventing an aeroplane for Srila Prabhupada service, they went to heavenly planets. But heavenly planet is a hell, as per our understanding. We are not desiring to go to heaven at all. We don't want to. For Vaishnavas, even liberation is hell. What to speak about this heaven? So we don't want that. We don't want going to heaven. Then it's like an offense that saying that somebody engaged in undevotional, because of that they go to heaven. They did not get any sukriti. But they get definitely they get. It may not be high, to some extent they may get Srila Prabhupada's book for that. That's enough. What more is needed? Yes. Anyway, thank you. Hare Krishna. Granthat Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada